Well, that Santa Clara sunshine absolutely got me yesterday. They have this thing called the sun down in Santa Clara that hasn't been available in San Francisco now for like several months in a row. I totally forgot about it, and I got cooked yesterday. Also, that sunshine illuminated the very first look at the San Francisco 49ers. Maximum football. Welcome, everybody, unofficially, officially to the 2023 football season. It is underway, and there is no better man that I could bring on than the man who stood next to me yesterday to watch OTAs to get first impressions of everything we saw other than Larry Krueger. Larry, how are you, pal? I don't know if you put on sunblock yesterday, but I don't know if you just got that, that olive skin. You
Yeah.
handled the sun better than I did.
Well, you know what? I'm it's not my first rodeo. So when I was in the parking garage, I did go with a little bit of the sunscreen,
You did dab
couple
up.
dabs
Nice.
up top. Just all you don't need to. My wife when the kids were babies used to just cake this stuff on. They look like Casper the ghost at the pool. You know what I mean? So now I just a little dab. So there you go. But yeah,
Well,
it was wait until camp, man. You're gonna need a camp hat like a
oh, I
Mayoko camp hat.
absolutely. I might go full on like what do they call them? Sampan hats, or like a sombrero or something. I
Yeah,
need shade. I need absolute shade out there. Larry, just impressions from yesterday. I know everyone wants to start every single football conversation with quarterbacks, so we'll do that. But there isn't much to really infer from the little bit we saw. But we got to look at the Trey Lance rebuilt throwing motion, and I'm no expert on the mechanics of a professional quarterback, but I know a loop built into a throw when I see it, and I know when it's corrected. And I do think that the offseason workout that Trey Lance did with his quarterback's coach has corrected it. And if he's got a more compact, tighter throwing motion, maybe that led to a ball that looked a little crisper, didn't wobble as much, and I thought it was a good outing from the limited reps we saw from Trey Lance. And let's just start right there. What were your impressions?
yeah. Well, I don't do impressions, but no, no. I would say my Leslie Nielsen. No, I thought the overwhelming biggest positive of OTAs was the quarterbacks. I mean, think about it. When the season ended, the 49ers were staring at Josh Johnson. They had an uncertain future with Brock Purdy. They had an uncertain future with Trey Lance. They had no third quarterback of note on the roster. They're so much of a better spot today than they were in Philadelphia on that afternoon. I mean, now Josh Johnson's moved on to the Baltimore Ravens, and nothing against Josh. I love Josh.
He
Josh is a great guy.
sucks. He sucks.
He had a rough day, but you know what? Josh is a tremendous person. I think very highly of Josh. But the overwhelming positive was all the quarterback news that we got after the practice and the quarterback revelations that we saw during the practice. The after the practice stuff, Brock Purdy told us that he's on track to throw a football next week and
That's
is
way ahead of schedule.
way ahead of schedule, and he's on pace to be ready for week 1, September 10th against the Steelers. He said, I feel good. The arm feels good. He's already doing his regular weightlifting. He had that elbow procedure on March the 10th. Shanahan said we're optimistic about week 1 for Brock's return. So he's using a towel instead of a football in his throwing sessions. So from Brock's perspective, awesome. Now let's get to
By the
Trey.
way, who yesterday? We don't have to call out media members. Who yesterday was like, can you tell us? Some media member was like, can you tell us what it means that Brock is throwing a towel? I mean, have they never watched a Hard Knocks on HBO? Do they not understand? I couldn't believe some of the questions that came up. Again, now I'm part of the assembled media. Maybe I should stop ripping them. But
Well,
Jesus
no,
Christ.
I thought so too. Well, not only that, it's commonplace for like baseball pitchers who are rehabilitating to use a towel. So, heck, I've seen my neighbor whose kid pitches, and when he works with his kid in the driveway between starts, he's got his kid out there using the towel. So, what the towel is for is to mock up the delivery, but not have any of the weight of the ball. And that puts pressure on the surgically repaired elbow. So you want the reps for the repetition, the loosening of the whole joint, the muscle memory, all the things that go into connecting your lower half, your footwork, and your mechanics lower half with your throwing. So you want to make sure that you're throwing something and doing a throwing motion, but your shoulder, or in this case, the elbow, is not ready for the weight of the ball.
Right, you
and
just
so,
don't want to tax it, but you want to be holding on to something, and a towel is the perfect thing to hold on to. I couldn't believe that they were seriously like wanting a breakdown of that. I'll say this, Coach Shanahan, Kyle has got his coach speak down to a science. I mean, it is razor sharp. Nobody can filibuster an answer that really contains no information, that actually sounds like it contains information, as well as Kyle Shanahan. He might be the best in the NFL at it. Larry, just so you know, everyone is very excited to see you here today. Larry and I do, of course, the Home and Home, which we have to dial that into some frequency because people are asking for it and they want it. This is not an official Home and Home. This is just a guest appearance by our local football expert that is Larry Krueger. People are excited to see you. The chat's going crazy. And needless to say, you got a Krug right there. Maybe even more importantly, Krug, we got some patronage for your sponsors. Ernie Chavez says, I was at Pig and a Pickle yesterday, Larry.
There you go. Get the brisket. Get that brisket chili. Get those potato chips. Get those potato chips cooked in beef fat. Oh, my God. Best potato chip of all time.
I want to know more about these potato chips.
Oh, they're unbelievable.
While we are sitting here talking about some sponsors that we care an awful lot about, let me say thank you to Ike's. Yeah, we have zoomed in so tight on my sunburn and on Larry's face that you can't see the cardboard cutout of Ike that we put the Davy Crockett cap on. When we zoom out, you can enjoy that a little bit later. But I want you to go ahead and enjoy an Ike sandwich a little bit later on today, and then maybe a little bit later on tonight, you enjoy yourself a nice glass of blackened whiskey, which is just absolutely phenomenal. I will cut off my own face here. I'll put my face just under the blackened whiskey bottle like it so often do. It is perfect to drink neat with a rock, with a cocktail. You make it. It is just fantastic. Blackened comes in all different labels and flavors. Just start with the Joe Blackened. You will be very, very happy with the whiskey that pours out of that bottle into your mouth. So we got all of that, Larry, going on. Praise to the sponsors. They're why we can keep this thing going. And by the way, things are going great around here. I want to be at 5,500 subscribers by the end of the show. We're just a handful away. Larry, if some of your army can come on in and grow the Plus Army, I would appreciate that. Anyone who's watching, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and look at us operating in the digital media world. How about that?
Seriously. And so the quarterbacks were the big takeaway for sure from camp.
Yeah.
Let's get to Lance for a sec, because Lance, I thought was, to me, it was more important of what Lance told us after the practice than before the practice. After the practice, we had a chance to talk to him, and he's enjoying playing football again, Damon, and he kind of referenced the pressure and it revealed to us that he's working with a sports psychologist. And you got to, and I'm looking at him and I'm thinking to myself, Damon, my son is this age. I mean, literally, I think Trey's 23. My oldest son is 22. And it's like, you know what? These are young people. We forget about that. The NFL is a pressure cooker. You got all the expectations that he put on
quarterback.
Exactly. You're the face of
when you're a quarterback.
You're the face of a multi-million-dollar outfit in a billion-dollar industry. I mean, it's the expectations that he has are great. The expectations that the Niners have are great. There's huge pressure, and then you mix in the fans' expectations. It's just a lot, man. And I thought Trey in the practices, his motion looked smoother. He looked more compact. It was definitely more efficient. He kind of referenced that. Afterwards, he took all of the first team reps. Darnold took the second team reps, though first and second team with no Debo, no Ayuk. I mean, what are we really talking about?
Ayuk was there. But
Ayuk was there. But as far as
Shanahan even said, what is running with the ones mean when you don't even have an offensive line out there? So it's.
But he looked good. He looked good, and there were some wobbles to some of his passes, but they were subtle wobbles as opposed to wild wobbles. And, he stated that he's feeling 100% recovered from the ankle surgeries. He said he felt about 100% as of March. It's now almost June. He's also he's 100% recovered from the broken index finger where he was throwing around that pain. That could have had everything to do with his wobble last year, is that he was throwing around pain in the index finger and wasn't able to straighten it and have full use of it. So now you got Lance physically in a better spot, emotionally in a better spot. You got Purdy on the mend, definitely sounding emotionally and mentally like he's had the reps. I asked him, how are you ahead of where you were last year at this time? He's like, oh my God, last year at this time, I was just trying to get from, practice to practice and digest the vast playbook and all the things that go into being a rookie. Now I've got that down and I can just focus on getting healthy and getting out there and doing the reps. And then I thought Darnold, people were like, he fumbled. Who cares about the fumble? The fumble means nothing. But Lance and Darnold, I had both down at roughly like 11 for 15, maybe 12 for 15, something like that. Maybe each had a drop or two. So they were really pretty accurate. And then Brandon Allen, we don't even think about Brandon Allen at all, but Brandon Allen is more than a camp arm. He was the backup to Joe Burrow last year. He was 6 for 6. If they get into a situation this year and they have quarterback injuries, Brandon Allen can play a game. He could win a game. He's got enough experience where he's a higher caliber player than what they had last year. So
I'll say this.
Quarterback room looks way better.
The delivery of the ball didn't change when Brandon Allen was in there. It really didn't. All of these guys, I thought, did a nice job hitting targets in the chest yesterday. I didn't see a lot of balls at the knees, a lot of balls.
Not a lot of airmail balls. You didn't see that either.
Kittle had to come down, and I even made a note to myself, like, Kittle's hands are still phenomenal. But he is overextending for hospital balls that, you obviously don't want to see. A couple of those came out. But I thought it was a good day of quarterback play, and I do want to say this about Sam Darnold. Again, there's no reason to get over your skis on anyone. I think there's going to be a very healthy, organic quarterback battle that will reveal who the best man is for the job in week one, with Brock Purdy obviously having a leg up. But I'll say this, Larry, Sam Darnold had the only balls of the day that I heard. You get that whistle, and he wasn't really whipping it down. He's pretty
impressive. As much as he has really struggled, we all know it, and there's no getting away from that. But
he's been on bad teams.
He's been on bad teams. I saw a stat yesterday that of his 55 career interceptions, like 25 or 35, something like that, so a high percentage of them came like second half behind. Well, you know what? Second half behind on a bad team, you're just trying to make something happen.
Right.
So you know what? On a better team, and let's be honest, Sam had a very, he knows this is his last best shot to have a real NFL career where he's a starter and he's thought of as a positive, because people know that the Niners are stacked and this offense is loaded. They got weapons galore. They got a top tier defense. If Sam can't make it happen here, he probably can't make it happen as a starter anywhere. And I like that, because that just puts the onus on him to seize the moment. So you one thing that was real noticeable, they got 4 quarterbacks and they all can play. And 3 of the 4, I will leave Allen out of this, are just absolutely hell-bent to not just play, but play well.
Right, and establish themselves in this league.
Good spot to be in. Absolutely great spot to be in.
It really is. Larry, just so you know, everyone is very excited to see you here on an 11 a.m. start time of a Damon Bruce show. The Shaw dropping. These are my 2 favorite guys right here. We have Yosarian saying, I've never tripped off Krueger's eyes before. They're little green marbles in big, whiter marble, and yes, I'm high. So somebody is lost in your eyes, Larry.
Wow.
Those are eyes worthy of getting lost in. And Michelle Haberman, who's been a huge fan, she says it's Krug, and now it's football season. So, indeed, it really is. It is great to have Larry here. And, again, we are going, oh, look at this. Ike wants to know, you going to make me a sandwich out of pig and a pickle, Larry?
Ike, I need a sandwich at Ike's, too. I need the Krug sandwich. I've already got it picked out. It's going to be It's going to be white meat turkey with just turkey gravy. Mix in some cranberries and maybe a little stuffing. 2 pieces of bread. What do you think, Ike?
Here's the thing. I think that's already on the menu, though. They have like a Thanksgiving type of sandwich.
Can we call it the Krug? Can we call it the Krug's Giving?
The Krug's Giving. Anyways, lost in Larry's eyes. We got lost down in a day of OTAs. Sun-kissed is the best way to describe how I came out of it. I will make better plans. Again, the time of practice and the time of my former terrestrial radio show always prevented me from going down there. I haven't been to 49ers OTAs in several years. So it was nice to get down there. It was nice to reacquaint myself with a whole bunch of beat writers and see who's out there. And, it sort of lets you know, by the way, who you should be following and reading, because there are a lot of people that cover this team from afar that report about things as if they know what is happening. And I'm not saying everyone there knows exactly what's happening, but if you're not there doing the legwork, how can you, pass yourself off as someone who is dialed in? And again, it was a day of impressions. And I like I don't just like it because it was my question. I like the answer that Kyle Shanahan gave. And I put this up as a YouTube short where, Kyle's not there, Larry, to fall in love on a first date. I asked him, any of your newcomers, being draft picks, undrafted free agents, standing out to you early here in the OTAs? And, I don't think that he was elusive because he didn't want to say a name, but he's basically telling you how he thinks. Kyle's not there to fall in love with first impressions. A first impression, a really good practice on a Wednesday doesn't mean you're going to have a great practice on a Thursday. So to evaluate a guy based on a singular practice or moment or look or snap or rep is fool's gold to him. And I thought that was, a lot of coaches would go out of their way to placate young players on a team with compliments early. Like, I kind of like that Shanahan's just got tough love for everyone. I mean, getting a compliment out of that guy is a hard, diamond to mine. It's hard to pull that out of the actual mine because Shanahan is reluctant to overpraise anyone or anything, and I think that keeps the team, humble and adjusted. And, I can see why players talk about Shanahan as a player's coach, because he doesn't put all their business out on Front Street, which I think is a weird level of protection that, some players aren't afforded early in their careers. Shanahan's been at this long enough to know how to play his offense when he's got a right quarterback like a Stradivarius, and I think he's learned how to play the media like a Stradivarius as well.
Well, and he's experienced, I mean, it's, you can get fooled by guys who look good at certain times of the year. You can get fooled when guys look good at the combine. That's why the combine is a little bit of I always look at these things and be like, I only care about the extremes. The minutia in between doesn't really matter. It's like, show me the extremes. Show me the guy who couldn't finish his 40 at the combine or was so bad in the interview setting that it was like we just chased him out of the room. And then show me the guy that, man, he came into the interview and every scout, he made an awesome impression on everybody. And the guy who showed up at the combine, he worked out like a monster. But the combine is can fool you because it's not football. And OTAs can fool you because it's not football. Football is played with pads. Football is played when guys are tackled. I'll give you giving you an example of a guy who didn't look good. I swear to you, did not look good, and I have zero concern. And that's D. Winters, the 49ers 6th-round pick out of TCU. D. Winters was the defensive MVP of the national semifinal against Michigan. He shot gaps. He made plays against the run, delayed blitzes. I mean, the guy has instincts for days, and he plays super fast. In this practice setting, he kind of doesn't look like much.
Right.
Looks a little short. Doesn't look all that explosive. Doesn't look all that great. But I'm not going to. And for me, last year, this was my first look at Brock Purdy post-draft, and I came out of that mini camp going, oh my God, they got something here. But I wouldn't talk about it because I just was like, you know what? I'm not going to be the guy who gets out over his skis on minicamp. I'm going to at least wait till Brock does it in training camp.
Right. And look,
but I went to training camp thinking I'm looking for Brock Purdy, where everybody else went to training camp going, who the hell is he?
Well,
but he looked great in the minicamp last year. He really did.
Well, look, you know that some people are kind of new at this from a media standpoint. When they watch one guy throw 3 footballs and they get all excited and they go on and they host their shows about how, they've seen the future. And,
Right.
it's just a bunch of new guys trying to figure out who they are in the media careers. But, this is where our experience costs more than them, and which is why we're more valuable than anyone else's opinion in this market right now, Larry. It's good that you and I are here together, setting everything straight. So, look, I want to get to other impressions from OTAs. We've been talking nothing but quarterbacks for 20 minutes here, and a team is so much more than its quarterbacks. The first thing that is unfortunate, like you said, football's played in pads and with contact, so you really can't evaluate anyone defensively or on, the line. There is no offensive line really out there. They're just standing up and playing patty cake with each other. There is no defensive pressure. There's no one attacking quarterbacks. So it's hard to see, and Shanahan even admitted that it's hard to evaluate any trench warfare in a mini camp that is just being played in shells. Impressions, though, around the field. I just wrote numbers down. And the first number that I wrote down is a number that should be familiar to everyone, and that is number 23. And I'm going to tell you that Christian McCaffrey is about to be one of the single greatest players in the history of this franchise. What a leader this guy is. He's in his 7th season, Larry, and he's out there working harder than anyone else on that football field. If everyone is playing at 90%, he is playing at 105%, and that makes everyone take their 90 up to 100. I mean, if Christian McCaffrey is there breaking his ass in voluntary OTAs, who shouldn't be? And I tell you, I thought that both, Jordan Mason and Elijah Mitchell and Tyrion Davis-Price, Tyron, I said Tyrion. I'm sorry, Game of Thrones is still with me. But they all took their cues from this guy, and this is about to be what I think is set up to be the deepest running back room in football.
It's incredibly deep. Somebody really good is going to get cut or traded, and you're totally right as far as McCaffrey. I mean, you could have seen him stand out from a satellite. He was so much the best offensive player on the field. It wasn't funny. He's explosive. And not only that, he was playing like it was like regular season form. You got to remember this. This guy hit the ground running last year, and he gave them all he had. But the playbook's vast. There's a lot to learn. And I'm sure it took him probably well into this offseason to get his arms all the way around it. And now, with so many veterans sitting out the OTAs, it's always good when one of your veteran stars steps up and kind of says, hey, you know what? I'm going to lead the way. I'm going to show you the speed that I'm going to play at, and then I'm going to dare the rest of you just by the fact that you're here watching it to meet my intensity and meet my speed. And McCaffrey was easily the most explosive player. He and not only that, kind of remind me a little bit of Jerry Rice and Roger Craig from the 80s, going as far as, he didn't just finish a run and run 10 yards and jog back to the huddle. This guy would run 35, 40 yards down the field, and D linemen were chasing him 30 and 40 yards down the field. And if you could see them running back to the huddle, he's kind of high-fiving them, and they're kind of all celebrating the fact that he set the tone. They're playing to that level, and we all win. And the camaraderie between the offense and the defense coming back to the huddle on some of those long McCaffrey runs, and the enthusiasm in the team portion. Coaches will tell you it's vital. People who just watch will say, who cares? It matters. It matters. It really does matter. It's like how much energy is dialed up into your practices, how much enthusiasm is dialed up when your team gets together. The one thing you can say, Damon, and you know this to be true, the Niners under Shanahan don't emotionally or physically no-show games. They show up and they play fast and they play physical, and you're going to feel their wrath. If not this week, you're going to feel the effects of it next week. And we saw that stat this year. Every team they played this year lost the next week.
Any Kyle Shanahan demerit that you ever wanted to give him, any Kyle Shanahan demerit, it has never included a level of effort. He has his team's full attention. And
they play.
If the Niners get beat, they get beat, and that's called football in the NFL, and that happens. Really good football teams are beaten all the time over the course of a football season. It's just how, again, the difference between the best NBA team and the worst NBA team is a chasm the size of the Grand Canyon. The difference between the best football team and the worst football team is about that much. I mean, that's how little these teams are actually separated from each other. Everyone's got talent. And it's a matter of will and what kind of effort you put out on a weekly basis. And Kyle's teams are frosty every week. Even the biggest Shanahan detractor, and I don't really know who that would be at this particular time, would have to admit that this team plays its balls off for him.
And it's not just him. The guys who need credit on this one are Lynch and Peters, the guys who pick the personnel, because I think it really has to do a lot with their culture. They go after culture players. They don't mess around anymore with workout warriors who don't love football. Believe it or not, there are guys that are really good at football, good enough to make the pros, that really don't have this passion for it, and they don't bounce around with energy. They're just kind of like, some guy. Everybody's looking at it was being explained to me this way. Everybody looks at their watch. Some guys are looking at their watch going, man, I got to get to the facility. Some guys are at the facility looking at their watch going, man, I got to get home. They've got a whole roster full of guys that are dying to get there. And it shows. It absolutely shows. Got a great culture.
Another number that stood out, and you and I talked about it right away. Number 26, the rookie corner, Darrell Luter Jr. from South Alabama, who is every bit of 6 feet tall, 190 pounds. He's a big corner. Larry, he was making plays. He's running in stride with everyone that he's covering out there. He's got hands to the football. I was, first time I've seen him in person, first time I've seen him play at all, to be honest with you, outside of, after he was drafted. I looked up some highlights on YouTube.
Sure.
That guy he's got an NFL body. I don't know if he's going to have an NFL career. I saw him for, 5 practice sessions in an OTAs, but hello. I think I saw something. Do you think you see something?
Oh, I'll go further. He's going to have an NFL career. And, your height and your weight is just that. But then there's your effective height and weight. It's kind of like NBA. It's like, is Draymond Green 6'7"? Well, essentially he's 6'10" because he plays bigger because he has long arms. And long arms will help you play bigger in basketball. Well, long arms will help you play bigger on the corner. And to me, watching Luter Jr., he reminds me of Xavier Rhodes coming out of Florida State. He's just really, really tenacious, long arms. They played a myriad of coverages there. They played off coverage. They played some zone, but he didn't. He played press man on the opposite side, and it was like 10 on 10, and Luter's taking his guy away. I'm really eager to see if he can beat out Demo Lenore for that corner spot opposite Mooney Ward. And Luter had a play that you're describing. It was on the far sideline right in front of us, a little bit down the field, where Darnold underthrew Danny Gray on a go pattern, and Luter closed the ground, PBU, knocked it down, and the entire Niners sideline erupted, started chanting his number. I think he wears 28, something like that. And everybody's down there, 28, 26. 26, yeah, 26, 26. And, this is a mature player. This is a guy who, he's married. He has a kid. He's very serious about football. What a great pick, though. What an incredible pick. And, there's the old saying, if you match up, you play man. If you don't match up, you play zone. The Niners have played a ton of zone, partly because they don't match up. They haven't matched up. Well, guys like Jair Brown and Darrell Luter Jr. give Wilkes the ability to play some man-to-man on the back end because they do match up and they can play man. And I think Luter to me has a great chance to start opposite Mooney Ward week 1. I really believe that. I think his length and his man-to-man ability and his just overall maturity within the game, even though he played for the South Alabama Jaguars. I mean, they coached him up well there. He's a good student. And I think he has a real shot to start week 1 over Lenore.
I thought that Lenore really improved last year. I think he's going to be an important piece of the puzzle. But if he is beaten out by the Rook, again, that would surprise me a little bit. But there's an NFL body in a rookie corner that I think they're going to get something out of this year. I wonder if he's got, the foot speed, the ability to slip over and play nickel, if that's what they ask him to do. He's big enough to be a safety, Larry. I mean, he's a big player. So
yeah, and he plays bigger. I mean, he's 6 feet, but he plays like 6'3".
Speaking of big player, rookie tight end Cameron Latu. I'm not exactly sure how we pronounce his last name. Latu. Okay. They gave him Terrell Owens' number 81. That's one thing that you pointed out, and I was like, all right, well, I'm kind of surprised about that. He's the size of a tackle. He's 6'5". You want to talk about deep positions and big players? The 49ers are going to have a deep and big tight ends room. George Kittle obviously is the leader of the pack there and should be and will be for a long time. But man, I was impressed by his size. Didn't see much from him. He wasn't really involved in any particular, play of the day, but just he's one of those guys where you see him and you're like, who is that? Who is wearing a wide receiver's number at the size of an offensive lineman?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't stand out to me, but I will say this: I think the other tight end, Braden Willis, is really special. I love Braden Willis. I love the competitive fire. I love the ball skills. He made a one-hand catch of a Darnold pass in the middle of the field. I think Willis, to me, it's going to be Kittle's going to be your 1. Willis is going to be your 2. But I think there's a very good chance that Latu and Willis take the jobs from Dwelly and Werner. Werner's a try-hard blocker. He doesn't give you a ton of pop in the run game. He doesn't move people. He's more of a tenacious blocker. He's not a great receiver. Dwelly doesn't give you hardly anything as a blocker. He's almost exclusively a receiver, but he's got some special teams value. If I was projecting the Niner tight end, I would say Kittle, Latu, Willis, and if they go with a 4th, they'll go with Dwelly, and that they'll wind up cutting Warner and Fumagalli. We'll see. I mean, Warner's got some value, and if Braden Willis really comes of age, like I predict he will, then maybe he takes Dwelly's spot, and they go with 4 tight ends with Warner and Latu. But I think there's a chance that that Willis and Latu take the jobs away from Dwelly and Warner.
I know that you've got, I don't know if you've already done it, but I was looking at your YouTube page today, and you're going to talk about adding an edge rusher if the Niners still need to do that. Hey, look, maybe he's already on this team. Now, clearly a disappointment as his career has started. He's in his 5th season, but his first go-around with the 49ers after being a bust with the Raiders. But Clelin Ferrell is a big defensive lineman. I mean, he's 6'4", and he filled out that jersey pretty well. Again, it's hard to evaluate any defensive player out there, but he was physically impressive. Drake Jackson, I mean, look, I'm not trying to report anything here, but he got so big this offseason, it's almost like pee in a cup time for that guy. He is just yoked in a way he was not last season. He is much bigger than before, and what a huge show-it year he's got coming up. I mean, the edge rusher you're talking about adding could be on this team, and it could be one of those 2 guys. And then again, just in terms of physical size, and you can't appreciate it until you're around it standing on the same level. Dude, Eric Armstead looks like a power forward. I mean, he is 6'7". He towers over NFL players. He is just gargantuan. And if he can really turn around and have a healthy season, I mean, that's where the 49ers are now averaging. That defense is giving up 14, 17 points a game.
Well, it's funny. This is the position that is the most changed from last year. You add Javon Hargrave. I mean, Hargrave is a double-digit sack guy, and now you've got 2 interior guys that can push the pocket. So, I mean, imagine the pocket like a teacup, and usually the tackles don't give you much rush, and the ends do, and the quarterback steps up. In this case, I think Armstead and Hargrave are going to really be outstanding rushers, and I think you're going to see the sack production for Bosa and who's ever opposite Bosa. I think it's probably going to be Drake. I think it's going to skyrocket because of the presence of Hargrave and Armstead inside. But yeah, Drake Jackson easily was the guy on defense that really was like, what? Because this guy's put on at least 10, 12 pounds of upper body muscle, and yet he's clearly faster than he was. So, I mean, how many guys get stronger and faster? He got a lot stronger up top, but he also is in the best shape of his life. I mean, Drake Jackson looks like he could have a double-digit sack season for sure. I mean, his speed off the edge, his body bend, and he hasn't lost any of his flexibility despite putting on some upper body strength. I think the upper body strength will help him counter, help him stand in against the run. But yeah, Drake's going to have a monster year. I didn't see as much from Farrell or from Hyder or from Austin Bryant, who looked a little thin. Robert Beal looked a little small. I really believe that they do need another edge rusher, but it may not be a starter. It may be just a rotation player. Jackson may be good enough to start, and that Jackson, Bosa, Hargrave, Armstead, quad up front could be absolutely monster. Could be absolutely huge.
Javon Hargrave wasn't there yesterday. Bosa wasn't there yesterday. Again, you would have liked to have seen Hargrave there maybe just to show up and be the new guy and show that he's all in. But everyone who was absent yesterday was excused. Obviously, Bosa has more house credit than any single 49er in terms of showing up in shape. The guy's got 0% body fat and is just a specimen. So whether he shows up, look at it this way. Whatever Bosa wants to do, he's got carte blanche to do that. No Trent Williams. Again, total carte blanche, can do whatever he wants. No Debo yesterday, though, and I thought that was a little bit disappointing for a guy who didn't come into last season in shape, labels attached to him, with young quarterbacks to get to know him, new quarterbacks to get to know him. I can actually, and look, Debo's an incredibly gifted player. He's very physical, but I could see him taking a stock down trip this year with the 49ers. He's a hell of a player. He's a hell of a talent. He's a piece of shit leader. I think that is pretty much proven.
I totally disagree. If we had Shanahan right here, if we said to him, Kyle, give me your game day leaders and what I would call tone setters, he wouldn't get two names in before he said Debo. Debo is a tone setter. Yeah, he's a tone setter on game day.
Okay. Well, I'm not talking about game day. I guess I'm talking about OTA.
Well,
where is he now?
No, but I'll say this, Damon. I think there's and I don't have no sources on this, and this is just reading this from afar, but I would almost guarantee that the Niners said to Debo, sit this one out. Why? Because, and same with Juwan and same to some degree with Ayuk, because look at all the receivers they have to find out about. They got way too many receivers. You didn't have any of the top tier guys there. Ray McLeod, Juwan, Debo, Ayuk was there, but didn't participate the entire time. But you got a lot of guys here. You got Chris Conley, you got Danny Gray, you got to find out about. You got Tay Martin, you got to find out about. You got Ronnie Bell, you got a couple of undrafted guys. You've got some, so they've got 9 receivers or so behind their starters that they got to find out about, and they're probably going to have to cut 1 or 2 of those guys. So to me, this was just about, hey, you know what? We don't want to get injured, and we need to find out about these other guys. So catch us in a week, catch us in a few weeks. I think they'll be there they'll obviously be there when it's mandatory. I don't sweat. Obviously, the conditioning of Debo is always going to be a factor because he can get heavy in the legs, and it's really important that his legs are in shape. But I've seen him online working out, and I would almost bet anything that either Shanahan himself or the coach, offensive receiver coach, said to his number one guys, we got a boatload of guys we need to find out about. Let's not take any reps away from them. sit out the
Well,
the
again,
early
you don't have to take
OTAs.
reps away to be on the side working out around the team. I mean,
True.
to me, like Christian McCaffrey is there. Is there anyone who needs less practice than not reigning, but a former MVP of the league who instantly took to the Niners, just instantly fit everywhere. And he's out there, not just out there, but busting his ass like he's an undrafted free agent.
I hear you, but don't read too much into it. You got to remember this. McCaffrey wasn't part of the installation of the offense last year. So he's literally going through this process for the very first time with this team. And he's also all about it. I'm not saying that he's not. He also probably lives locally where those guys probably don't. So, I mean, I'm not giving anybody a free pass. It would be nice to see the entire team there on the sideline, but don't trip on it because it's May. It's May. It's
Right.
like the same way we can't over-evaluate it. We can't. I don't. Let's just say it this way. This is like the extra credit session for a high school teacher, or you know what I mean, or a college professor. And it's like, do you bang on the students who don't show up to the extra credit? No, but you applaud the students that do. And that's kind of how I view the OTAs, the non-mandatory OTAs.
And again, someone says, Damon, you're making way too much out of OTAs. That's shush. You're obviously joining us late. I'm here telling you that there isn't too much being garnered from this. But to me, being present and being in shape, Debo's had problems there. And, I just think it's disappointing that he's not there.
If he shows up in camp and he's got, and he's carrying bad weight and all of a sudden there's soft tissue injuries, then I'm absolutely in lockstep with you. But
are you on the show and tweeting the show? Please look at you. Look at you, Krueger. Multitasking.
That's my son. My son. I've got a team of people. I just released a video in the midst of this extravaganza on minicamp. In the middle of sitting down with you, we released a video on minicamp.
Wow,
courtesy
I like
of
that an awful lot. Again, Damon, dropping a Debo's a piece of shit leader was ballsy, foolish, wildly inaccurate. Not sure if you noticed, but as Debo goes, so goes the 49ers. Look, I think he is an incredibly talented player. There are elements of his mental makeup I just don't admire. And that's just me. That's just me. We don't have to all agree. We don't have to all root for everyone. I think Brandon Ayuk is this team's best wide receiver. And, when we talk about, well, you're only going to be able to afford going forward, to me, Ayuk is there. He's present. He's rarely injured. He is always around the football. Debo has his moments where you can't take your eyes off of him, and then other moments where he's simply not to be found. So, I mean,
I ain't sweating it.
I'm not sweating it either. But
I ain't sweating it. I agree. And I've already said what I wanted to say, which is just that it's not like what you're saying has zero credence, but the culture of this team is that Debo is one of their real leaders and one of their real tone setters. He's got a level of respect from the players and coaches where he's in the Bosa class. He's got a right at this point to do it the way he wants to do it. I got no problem with it.
By the way, so Jillian saying the Krueger show is fully staffed, jealous. A response from your son saying it's a full family effort. This is a full family effort over here too. Unfortunately, my oldest is 3.5 and my youngest is 1.5, and neither of them are skilled enough to really help out so far. But it is awesome the way that look. Here's what we've turned into. We have turned into, Larry, I think, two of the most supportable local family businesses in the market. And that's what this is. We're not startup companies. We're small family businesses trying to get something that is a better product than anyone else is offering up and on the road. And you've got this incredible head start. I'm trying hard to play catch up here. And I think we're both doing a hell of a job. I wanted you to come on in today and spend 15 minutes just talking OTAs. And of course, we went 45 minutes already. And I know you got a lot to do, so
No,
I'm going to
hey
let
man,
you go.
I'm
I
here
know.
for you, man. I'm here for you. As well, I'll be doing. The one thing yesterday was the OTAs, right?
Mhm.
So what does that mean? That means that yesterday was a long day, but like today's going to be a great day on the Krug show. Just to tease what I got coming up later today, because it is 11:45 in the morning. 2 p.m. Wayne Breezy stops by. Breezy's is the Northeast correspondent from the Krug show. No, but Breezy's got his own channel. He's out in Connecticut. I love Breezy, so we'll be on. Breezy's gonna be on my channel at 2. Jordan Elliott's gonna be by today. He's from Niners Nation. I love Jordan Elliott. You should get him on your show. He's absolutely a genius. Matt Barrows is gonna be on tonight at 7 o'clock on the Krug show. Giving us his thoughts on Jeff Christensen, on the quarterbacks, on Trey, on Shanahan. Barrows, I think, gets no better. I mean, he's like top shelf. And then tomorrow on the channel, Vish Kumaran stops by. Vish is phenomenal. Jesse Naylor is on tomorrow. Dave Lombardi
No
is
next
going to
day
be on.
previews. No next day previews. We're only working in the same day. But
And then Matt Mayoko. Matt Mayoko is going to join me on my channel for the very first time later this week.
by the
And
way,
then I'm even going to look ahead to the NBA draft because I got all kinds of, it's funny. You know who I'm super passionate about right now?
Trace
And I know
Jackson
that,
Davis.
yes, Trace Jackson Davis, the power forward from Indiana. The Warriors are talking about trading for LeBron and all this, I think, and trading all their young players to get LeBron. I just think that would be so stupid and so foolish. And the Warriors built their championship core in the draft. And in my opinion, they ought to part with Poole, try to find a way to get 3 or 4 picks, get that kid from Indiana in, amongst a couple other picks,
I've seen
and
2
go
Hoosiers
get your
actually connected to the
younger
Warriors.
players.
Trace
Go get
Jackson
some young
Davis
players.
would be the front court presence that they need. He's not looking to shoot threes. He's looking to rebound.
Can't
and
sh-
he's
he's
looking
never
to score
shot a
from the
three,
low
right?
blocks. Yeah, no, it's not what he does. Jalen Hood Shafino, who's got. If Jalen Hood Shafino were to be drafted by the Golden State Warriors, he would be the next young player that Steve Kerr didn't trust enough to play. And it might not be an unfounded lack of trust because there are nights where he'll go 1 for 17 from the floor and you're like, what the hell's going on? There are other nights where he single-handedly won games for Indiana. He's got an NBA body. He's got NBA talent. If we lived in a different time, he would have been absolutely well advised to stick around college for one more year, kid, and you can be a lottery pick. And he might still even be with his potential a lottery pick. But I've seen both players falling to around where the Warriors would be picking. And I'm going to tell you, someone who's watched more Indiana basketball than anybody on the West Coast, except my buddy Greg, who I'm usually watching, Indiana basketball with, either of those players would look really good in Warriors uniforms. Speaking of Hoosiers, and I'm not just bringing this up because he went to Indiana, I want to talk about one more 49er before we say goodbye, Larry, and that is Marcelino McCrary-Ball, who has got a serious body, has got a real dog in him, is in a deep linebacker room, and chose to stay there, which you and I were talking about is one of the reasons to really, really like the kid.
And he dapped up Damon Bruce from the Plouse on the sideline in full uni, which you don't see often.
Hoosiers now.
Hoosiers hang with Hoosiers. Marcelino's my guy, man. I love Marcelino. I've been championing his cause. I did a bunch of interviews with him last year. You can check it out on the channel. He played middle backer for Greenlaw and Warner with those guys out. He was the starting middle backer. Marcelino's in the best shape of his life. He came to Indiana as a corner and then played safety exclusively. The Niners in this new speed rules era of the NFL have made him a linebacker. I asked him last year, Damon, I said, Marcelino, you're a smart guy, man. Why the hell did you come here? You're not going to play here. This team's got Greenlaw and Warner and Aziz and, dude, all kinds of special teams backers. And why did you come here? And he's like, you know what? Aziz and Dre and Warner, these guys are dogs, and I'm a dog too, man. And I want to prove that I can run with them. And I knew that I wouldn't play much this first year, but I also knew that I would get a great education on how to play linebacker. The Niners wanted me. I believed in them. They believed in me, and I'm here. And now here we are 1 year later. Aziz has moved on, I think, to the Colts in free agency. Aziz told me after one of the playoff games, he's like, because Aziz knew, the Niners don't use that third linebacker very much. He knew he was going to get offers and that he was probably going to go. And he said, you know what? They're going to be good here next year with Marcelino because Marcelino's can take my spot. And there's no question that Marcelino is going to be a tremendous player. He is my pick to not just break out in camp, but to break out like a Pro Bowl caliber player. I think Marcelino McCrary Ball can be a Pro Bowl caliber linebacker.
Banner back in the actual frame here. That's something else. That's
I think he can be a Pro Bowler, Damon. I really think he can be a Pro Bowler. His instincts are off the charts. The game is now played. It's a coverage game. You're in the sub package 70-75% of the time. This guy can play in the sub package. He had a pick last year in the preseason. He brings all kinds of thump. He's smart. He's in his playbook. He works hard. His body is bigger, stronger, faster, and it was big and strong and fast last summer.
He looked rocked up.
Wait until you see Marcelino in this summer. People are going to be like, dude, Marcelino. And, it's going to be incredible. He's got a great name, too. Marcelino McCrary Ball.
He's got a great name. By the way, it was Barrows, the one who asked about the towel. Damon, and jump in and tell Barrows that question was asked. Larry, you can tell him when you talk to him. Look, I love Matt Barrows, and I would say that Matt Barrows and Matt Mayoko are the two best daily beat writers following that football team. I have not had, because he was exclusive to KNBR for all of those years that I was on 95.7 The Game. I saw Cobra, Matt Mayoko, yesterday and said, dude, I got to get you on the channel too. And he said, it's been forever. Let's do it. So we're going to have Mayoko on at some point over here. I know you're putting that together. We got an awful lot coming up. There will not be a couple of guys doing a better job covering the Golden State Warriors. Oh my God. The San Francisco 49ers, as well as Larry and I are going to be doing that on our own together, combining forces. We come together. We're like Voltron, and it's going to be very hard to beat. Thank you, Larry, for stopping on by today. I will definitely go about using some sunscreen. I forgot that the sun existed in the state of California. That's how much in San Francisco I am. Indeed, it is still around the state of California. It's just not in San Francisco anymore. I will prepare accordingly next time. Larry, thank you for everything. We'll be watching the Krueger show with great anticipation. You're the best.
Thanks, man. Have a great day.
There he is, Larry Krueger, boys and girls, the best when it comes to just talking about what is going on with the 49ers. Love talking to Larry, and we are going to do a better job covering that football team than actual radio stations, flagship stations, hangers-on stations, trying to be a station. We are going to beat stations with channels. That's what we're going to be doing this year here on 95.7, or not here on 95.7 The Game. Yeah, here on the Damon Bruce Show. I guess old habits do indeed die hard, but so do budgets, and those are all dead. So we're over here, and it's officially time to hop quickly into Club Plus. I do need to make an announcement. Look, yeah, you're right, Otis Bird III. Here's another positive about me being over here. The guests that we couldn't get. They've always wanted to come on with me. They just were prevented from doing so. And so now we are going to do it. And indeed, Larry, thanks so much for the appearance. Great stuff out of him. Again, shush, laughing. Old habits die hard. They certainly do. And it is a station evisceration sensation. Thank you very much, HR. Very funny. And I'll tell you what they don't do, what they can't do, what only I can do is invite you into a little something we like to call Club Plus. But I told you this was going to be a 49ers OTA show. I did have something prepared on, the fact that the Celtics canceled their date with Broomhilda, but we'll get into all of that other stuff. Giants are underway. Looks like they're in trouble today in Minnesota. They're down 6-1. The A's are now officially 30 games under 500. So fuck John Fisher as always. And I just wanted to say thank you very much to Larry for stopping on by. This was a great chat about the 49ers. We'll be back to cover it all tomorrow at 11 a.m. here on YouTube and on the Damon Bruce podcast, which I thank you so much for listening to. And I want to remind you that sports don't build character, they reveal it. And like that, he gone. Now ready? Hold on. I click that, I believe. I push this button, I believe. I push this button over here. And now all of a sudden, welcome to Club Plus, baby. Oh, no. So I haven't seen this from anyone but AJ Cruz right here, but he says, R.I.P. Tina Turner? Oh, my gosh. R.I.P. indeed. Oh, my God. Oh, there's Laura. We have it confirmed now. 2 Plusers are reporting that Tina Turner has passed away. Oh, what a terrible way to start Club Plus. Tina Turner is just all that in a bag of chips and 2 of the best stems that have ever been attached to any human being ever. Legs and talent for days. Tina Turner was a force of nature. Oh, man, that's going to bum me out. That's going to really, really bum me out the rest of the day. Oh, rest in peace, Tina. Simply the best. Better than all the rest. That was her. I'll tell you right now. There's not a lot of Bryan Adams songs I'm going to tell you around. Listen to the live duet, Bryan Adams and Tina Turner singing It's Only Love. Find that today. Listen to that today. It is one of the great rock songs ever recorded. I swear to God, the 2 of them together were magical in that one moment there. That Bryan Adams and Tina Turner, It's Only Love. You go find that today. Oh, it's phenomenal. Man, I'm upset about Tina Turner now. So, look, I wanted to begin by telling you that Never Go Full Jeff has been suspended. I don't have time for needy plusers. Okay, I just don't. I don't have time for needy plusers, guys who, saying that Otis Bird III, our fearless leader, is mocking them. I don't know what the hell's going on. And it happened, I guess, on another station's chat page, which means I couldn't give a flying fuck. Everyone grow up. Good God. There can't be anything worse than a needy chatter. And there's really nothing better than blackened whiskey. Next time you feel like a needy little bitch, why don't you shut your mouth and just have a little cup of blackened whiskey? Just shut up and drink. Good Lord. Can't stand it. Can't stand it. I don't have a crew here to babysit those who need babysitting. So, instant suspension and goodbye. Don't make me become the tough love that the world needs, because I'm prepared. I'm prepared to do just that. I can tell you that right now. So we want to start with a few things that I've been pinning throughout the show today. I think I got a better way to figure out what is going on here on the chat. We begin with Lynn, who says, may we summon Ray Ratto to Plus by just typing Maximum Football 3 times? We do need to send Ray. So Ray only likes sandwiches that are like on just condimentless rolls with 1 layer of meat in them. I don't think Ike's is probably not for him, but whiskey is a good way to tempt Ray to come on by. And Ray, I'm sure, will be by. As a matter of fact, we got big plans at some point in time to execute with Ray. Not the execution of Ray, but the Maximum Football. Oh, yeah, someone else is saying, oh, it's Lynn again. She's saying, good morning, everyone. Is this the start of Maximum Football? I'm just going to let you know that we're going to have some new bells and whistles to be dropping. And I want to get it set up. I want to be able to hit Ray with the Maximum Football before he actually gets here, just so he can instantly leave. He will hate that. This is from our friend AJ Cruz, who said, Plusers, couldn't take it anymore. Recycled talking points equals bad radio. I think I know what you're talking about. It's just the same thing over and over and over again. This is what happens when you have to serve a 12-hour-long broadcasting day. You can streamline it. You can make it all happen here on YouTube. This is why YouTube is taking over the entire, not just world of broadcasting, but the entire universe of broadcasting. God, I was listening to the Pivot podcast. What is that? Kara Swisher and her buddy that she does it with. His name is slipping my mind right now, which is a shame because he's a genius too. But they were talking about how just if you ain't doing it on YouTube, you will die. You will die. And YouTube is kicking cable TV's ass. It's kicking streaming TV's ass. Basically, you're wondering where all the audiences went. They're on YouTube now. They're right here. So it's really good to be here with you. The skills report said, I listened to some old Damon and Ratto yesterday. It's criminal they were let go. Yeah, they should have committed crimes to come up with more money to keep us around. There is no doubt. How about this? The Shaw checking in from Rome. Sorry I missed the last few shows, but I had to acclimate to my to my jet lag. The Shaw, thank you very much. We are seeing upticks in plusers around the world. Like I'm most popular in the country of the United States of America. What do you know there? Second biggest downloaded country, second biggest viewing country, the Philippines. Shout out Filipino plusers everywhere. Love ya. Love ya. So there we are. We're huge in the Philippines, baby. Go ahead. Philippine market, get into the blackened right there. I know you know how to party. Hey, Otis Bird. Hello, Otis Bird the third. Damon got a little color down at the Rockin' New Era 84. I didn't get a little color. I got one color, and that color was red. Breaking news. The Vegas A's are coming. Vegas, baby. Thank you, Oakland. Look at it this way. You can fucking have them at this point. It's a shame, but if you get the A's with John Fisher, you just got suckered. Straight up suckered. As long as John Fisher is associated with that team, it's going to be a piece of shit. I don't care what their revenue looks like or does. That guy is a bad faith actor. He's the worst owner in the history of Bay Area sports. So the fact that the A's are the team that Las Vegas chooses means Las Vegas is doing a terrible job on this part too. Las Vegas should be a Major League Baseball town. They should actually get a Major League Baseball team. The A's are not reflective of a Major League Baseball team, and it's not because of the fans. It's not because of the stadium. It's because their owner blows. Enough said. Damon, great tan down in Santa Clara. Thank you very much, Lynn. Louis says, does D. Bruce have a tan? No, this isn't a tan. This is a sunburn. This is a sunburn. What, do we got a little super chat over there? Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Danny G TV, thank you so very, very much. My sister, who is with us under the moniker of Pinky Manning, says, how did you manage to get more sun in an afternoon in San Francisco than you did in a whole week in Cancun? Well, because it wasn't in San Francisco, it was in Santa Clara. So we were out of the fog, and it was because, as Jillian has already responded, it's because she wasn't there taking care of me like a child, slathering me in sunscreen. Again, I am needy of the wife to be maintained. My IT department is needed for a lot of things other than just IT. Damon, hat and sunscreen. Have we ever thought of these things? Who's your daddy? Yeah, both would work. Neither were remembered. So, we'll get better at it. Looking like a cherry tomato, Mr. Bridge. Thank you. Yeah, no, indeed. I am I am a ripe tomato. Absolutely. True blue forever on the A's. 10-40, the worst start in 90 years. Yeah, Vegas, that's who you're about to do business with. That's who you are about to do business with. Robert Bruce. Hi, Damon. We're cousins. Robert the Bruce. We might be related. Absolutely, we might be related. So this was a hell of a show today. I told you that we were going to have an awful lot from 49ers OTAs. I believe we delivered that with our good friend Larry Krueger. Not just my good friend, our good friend Larry Krueger. Put up some videos from camp yesterday. Let's see. Jillian put never go full Jeff in a timeout. He's being a total troll. Yeah, but I would, here's the thing. I did more than put him on full timeout. I blocked him permanently. We don't need needy chatters. We don't need those who are desperate for attention. And this is not the first time he has shown himself to be a bit of a malcontent. So, bye-bye. So long. Oh, come on. We should do a Tina Turner remembrance doc tonight. Jillian, we still got to get through the Donna Summers doc. Look at me. I'm talking to my sister and my wife here on the Blue, saying, Damon, you're supposed to let her rest in peace, not wake her from the dead. Sorry. I can hit some Tina notes. Otis Bird, you're my man. Thank you very much. Thank you, Damon. Yeah, good. Never go full Jeff had to go. It's consensus. It's consensus. It's not just me. The Knights of the Round Table have spoken over here. What, we had Dibs told full Jeff live on air to calm down? Again, he's a grown man worrying about a chat room? Come on. So there you go. Your sunburned host would like to thank you very, very much for tuning in today and coming into, oh, by the way, Scott Galloway. Thank you very much, Jillian. Scott Galloway is the Kara Swisher co-host. They have a phenomenal podcast. They are officially smarter than us. Dude, I want to be Kara Swisher when I grow up. That woman is a badass. Absolute badass. Look at everybody just talking with each other, having a good time. Look at everyone enjoying themselves. Oh, look at this. Look at Skills to pay the bills. The Skills report dropping what he is now famous for, random dollar amounts. Show's getting better all the time. Can't wait for all legal hurdles to be cleared so we can have classic music back. I think we have to pay the Killers an awful lot of money for Jenny Was a Friend of Mine. But, you know, a few years from now, maybe we'll be able to do that. Thank you very much for the $11.37. That is random, and I do love it. Thank you very much. NorCal Viking. Damon, Farmer's Tan as well from the tank top. No, I'm not going full Pat McAfee. We didn't have the wife beater on down there. And honestly, my arms are, I think, out in the sun enough to where they're, I don't want to say impervious to burning or anything, but I don't have like the straight up Farmer's Tan. But boy, I got absolutely cooked on the forehead. Cooked. Speaking of cooked, waiting for my sandwich at Ike's. Warmed up lovingly and delicious. Let's see here. Jeff also, he was complaining that Otis was interacting with someone who was never go full Jeff 2.0, and he was complaining about how offended he was by that. And what did he do? He started in Otis 2.0, and so he got blocked there too. Again, the only thing that I can promise you is that this show ain't fucking around in any way, shape, or form. And that includes with what I'm reporting to you, what we're talking about, the issues that we will run into, like burning buildings that are usually avoided by other broadcasters who cannot handle said issues. And we're not fucking around when it comes to dealing with needy audience members. We love audience members, but ones that are not needy. Thank you to Blackened. Thank you to Ike's. Thank you to Larry Krueger. And thank you for joining us today. True Blue forever. We kick dicks all damn day. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. I really mean it. I'm going to go upstairs and I'm going to put on a little Tina Turner. Rest in peace, Tina. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It was great to have you here. It was great to have you. It was great to have Larry. And I'm going to tell you right now that you don't need to go anywhere. Oh, wait. Oh, by the way, I had a little video yesterday that I shot that I totally forgot we loaded up. Look, you want to see technology? Look at this, everybody. You want to see Sam Darnold complete a pass to Brandon Ayuk? Here it is. I mean, based on that one play, I think it's pretty obvious the 49ers are definitely winning the Super Bowl this year, and that's where we'll leave it today. Remember, thank you for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow at 11. In the meantime, Club Plus is closed. You do not have to go home, but you can't stay here. I need to go get some lotion and some Tina. Take care.